captain of the Manly 12 boys to come up and accept their runners-up plaque for 2017.
We'd just like to congratulate Tara. They got some good coaches, Daniel. But thanks to all the refs and all the organisers throughout this weekend. Thank you.
I would now like to invite your 2017 12 boys champions, the Parramatta Eels, up on stage to accept their champions medals. To ask the Parramatta captains to accept their championship plaque for the 2017 12 boys Savvy Yellow Cup.
I'd just like to thank our coaches and the Manly boys team for just showing up and giving it a battle.
Huge thank you to the referees who gave all our games and every game fair and clean and safe. Thanks a lot. And to all the parents who came to support their kids and all the people who trialled out and made it. Thank you.
And now for the player of the final from the 12 boys game from Parramatta, number 10, Luke Maroon. I'd like to ask Luke back up to accept his player of the match medal. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in congratulating your 2017 12 boys champions, the Parramatta Eels. We now move on to the 18 girls in the Rose Cup, which was played between Parramatta and Newcastle in a very close game. Your champions for 2017 are Parramatta, winning the game 3-2. I'd like to invite the runners-up, Newcastle, up on stage to accept their runners-up medal. I'd now like to ask the Newcastle captains to accept their runners-up plaque for the 18 girls 2017 Junior State Cup.
First of all, we'd like to thank Parramatta for an awesome game. You guys thoroughly deserved it and really good win. Next, New South Wales touch to this tournament. You guys always bring really good tournament. Refs, thank you, and more importantly, you girls, I couldn't think of a better team to
play with this year. And we're coached by Glenn Flanagan, Logan Flanagan, Deb and Dax, so thank you.
I would now like to invite the Parramatta Eels up on stage to accept their 18 Girls Champions medals. I'd now like to invite the Parramatta captains to accept their championship plaque for 2017.
Firstly, I'd just like to thank New South Wales Touch for putting on an awesome tournament, as you always. To Newcastle, you guys are amazing players, and we're so privileged to play in the grand final. To the refs for always being there and cheering us on, and the other teams, so you guys did a really good job. To Langers, Court and Greta, you've always been there to support us and got us through. And finally to the girls, we did a tough grind, but we got there, so congratulations.
And now for your player of the final for the 18 girls from Parramatta, number 25, Tatum Bird. I'd like to ask Tatum back up on stage to accept her player of the match medal. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in congratulating your 18 girls champions for 2017, the Parramatta Eels. We'll now move on to the 14 girls in the Taylor Cup played between Manly and Northern Beaches, with Manly, your 2017 champions, winning the game 12-5. I'd like to invite the Northern Beaches girls up on stage to accept their runners-up medals.
And never ending September.
I'd now like to invite the captain of the Northern Beaches take up to accept the plaque for runners-up for 2017 14 girls.
I'd just like to say thanks to all our coaches and to Manly for really challenging us in that grand final, and New South Wales Touch and the girls for playing good. Thanks.
I would now like to invite your 2017 14 girls champions, the Manly girls, up on stage to accept their championship medals. invite the Manly captains back up to accept their championship medal of Clark for 2017.
I would like to thank Mama Goya for coaching, our manager Bridget, the girls, and New South Wales for holding such a great tournament.
And now for the 2017-14 Girls Player of the Match is from Manly, number 8, Kiala Duff. I'd like to invite Kiala back up to accept her Player of the Match medal. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in congratulating your 14 Girls Champions for 2017, the Manly Sea Eagles. We now move on to the 18 boys, which was played between Newcastle and Peninsula in a fantastic game of touch football, won by Newcastle 8 to Peninsula 7. I'd like to invite Peninsula up on stage to accept their runners-up medals. I'd now like to invite the Peninsula captain up to accept their runners-up plaque for 2017.
First of all, I'd just like to thank Newcastle. Awesome team, great game always is. Thanks to New South Wales Touch for running all these competitions we play at. Thanks to our parents for always taking us to trainings. And Small, Kyle and Maddie, it's always fun coming to training and the games, keeps good. And thanks to the boys, I love playing with you and couldn't think of a better team to finish off the juniors, so yeah.
I would now like to invite your 2017-18 boys champions, the Newcastle Knights, up on stage to accept their championship medals.
They've been in like every incident that's
Now I'd like to invite the Newcastle captains back up to accept their championship plaque for 2017.
I'd just like to thank Newcastle for the game. We always get to New South Wales Touch. We'll be here without you. All the refs did a good job throughout the tournament. And all the boys, coaches, and Jack Field for making the trip up here. We've got us over the line.
And now for the player of the final for the 18 boys from Newcastle, number 4, Matthew Smith. I'd like to invite Matthew back up on stage to accept his Player of the Match medal. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in congratulating your 18 boys champions for 2017, the Newcastle Knights. We now move on to the last award for this year, the Club Championship. In third place on 94 points, the Parramatta Eels. In second place on 100 points, Northern Beaches. And in first place on 139, Manly Sea Eagles. I would like to invite a representative from Manly Sea Eagles up to accept their club championship for the 2017 Junior State Cup.
Okay, now we can pause.
Emerald. Hey Jacob, Emerald. What? Emerald.
This is Mark.
That's Mark.
Mark TV. Mark TV.
Can I cut the string out? Do you reckon?
Just leave it on.
I'd like to thank New South Wales Touch for all they've done this week. Without them, this wouldn't have happened. I'd like to thank all the referees, all the teams that came up to participate, all the grand final winners and runners-up. I'd like to thank Manly Touch, our Manly family. Thank you, everyone. Most especially Stewie Gerald. Without him, this club wouldn't be won. Yeah, thank you. See you next year.
Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in congratulating your 2017 Junior State Cup Club Champions, the Manly Sea Eagles. That concludes this year's Junior State Cup. Thank you to Mark and Peter for once again joining me on stage for the presentation. A big thank you to Port Macquarie Touch Association and Port Macquarie Council, all our volunteers.